What is up, everybody? Escape211 here, and we are on the test server looking at the new feature mods. Now, some of you probably already saw on Discord or the App Store or some Easter eggs in the game about this and already have some knowledge on it, but I just wanted to go over all the basics visually so that we can see and assess all of this as a first impression. And it's only going to be a first impression. I will probably review more detail later as I know more details, because you'll see that not everything is clear from the test server here. But first, you'll see in the hangar that we have these 4 different type of slots at the bottom of each of our mechs, and that is the first visual indicator for mods. And then when you go to them, you will see that you have these 4 different slots and a mod button over here. We have an A, B, C, D slot for each of these, and they each have different functions. These are going to be based around either shields or HP as a one-time use for each of your mech in the round that you're in. So like in CPC, it will be a 1 use. In 5v5 or 2v2, for each round you would get a new shield for the given mech, and then in FFA, if you cycle through your mech, you would get new ones there. So you'll kind of get the idea of that as we kind of explain through this. But this first one is either a frontal shield like Ares or a perimeter shield similar to that of like Juggernaut that we got here. This next one, Canopy Shield, is just going to be overhead for mortars or like guided rockets. The next one is just more HP. And the last one, probably the most interesting and maybe the most game-changing, is going to be for overflow damage from like backside hits or specific abilities. So this is going to eat all of that. Not all of the damage entirely. So like if you get side or back damage on you, this will take that double damage, but the base damage will still go to your main HP pool. So this will be, a counter though to like Storm Wreck meta, that kind of stuff, which is interesting. But overall, yeah, the idea of a lot of this is interesting because it deals with the HP deficit that we see in the game in a unique way. So I like that aspect of it. But again, I'll talk more about my first impressions later. First off, though, yeah, you'll see that we have different rarities, epic and legendary, and these each have different stats attached to them. Obviously, the stats of the legendary is going to be significantly better here than the epics. You'll see like 24 versus 80 for the max on this is a big jump on this haul that we have. And each of these are based on a percentage from your mech, right? So the rarity of your mech, obviously the higher the better, is going to be significant for this as well. So, rarity is going to play hugely into how effective these mods are in that sense overall. So yeah, and these, I think, again, if you've read up on this a little bit already, each of these have ways that you can put them on your mech, but you can remove each of them and switch them around. Not that you'd want to in this case. You don't need to put an epic on here when you already have a legendary, so I would put this one on normally. But what is important and significant to note is that if I remove it off of this mech and I go to a different mech to try and put that hull, like let's say on my Solus here, I can't actually do that. When I go to my Solus, if it will let me, my mouse is getting sticky. Okay, this will not actually have that same level 6 hull that I created on the other one. These actually have different mods that are only specific to your mech. So when you get one for that mech, it stays with that mech. You cannot swap them between. You can swap each of them in here. So, you have flexibility within the mech to do different setups if you want. That really only comes into play on slot 1 right now because there's 4 different types that would be in here. And we're going to go over that. So the first one is the basic blockade one, which is just a frontal shield that's just a base pool of HP. Comes in legendary and epic. And then we have the blockade ML, which stands for multi-layered shield. So you'll see that each of the shield HP is super low, but you have multiple layers of it. And the design here is to deal with burst style weapons, single shot like burst weapons, especially sniper weapons, that this will just be able to eat those a lot better. So there is a benefit to this kind of shield, I would think, especially in a lot of 5v5. The difference, I would say, mostly between the legendary and the epic in this case is the amount of layers that you have. 7 here and then 10 for blockade. Then we have the perimeter shield, a little bit less HP overall, but it's one that goes around your mech entirely. And then we have the same, regular and then the ML variants for it as well. This is the only slot right now that has a good essential benefit to swapping between the two. But that's the basics of all of these in general. So not, anything too crazy there. But I do want to give my overall first impressions of this. I like the idea of them doing this to handle the HP deficit. Like I said, that is a nice and unique way of handling it. I like that there's some flexibility in how we get to choose how we want to handle it and how we want to invest. But you know, the key there is the word invest, just because I don't really know how much of an investment this will be. I don't know exactly how you're going to be able to purchase these, because we got all of them for free basically on the test server. So I don't know if they're going to be credits, A coins, or if they're going to be using this new currency. This does have this new currency, of course, by the way. So we have the basic mod parts and then epic mod parts. And the basic and epics, at the very least, are used for upgrading, right? So if I want to upgrade a couple times on here using the basic mod parts, it will then switch to the epics after we use the basics. Same thing on the legendary ones. It is a little bit more, but you're still doing the same kind of thing here. You're going to be, you know, swapping over to the epics. I don't like how this just midway through switches to a higher premium currency for basically no reason. So that is quite odd to me, aside from it just feeling kind of like a money grab. So that element I don't really like. I also feel that this is potentially going to create more disparity between those who are paying and those who are free to play. Even though this is a unique situation or a solution to a meta problem, instead of dealing with it with balances, they're just trying to sell you something else, which I don't like that idea of. But it's hard for me to say entirely with all of this, because I don't have the way to actually test it with real people, and we're not on the live server to know how everything costs in general, or how quickly we're going to be able to get these new forms of currency. So we'll have to assess that more in a review once it becomes live, but I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Do you think this is a good thing for the game, or it is going to break it, destroy it further than it already is? Feel free to comment below your thoughts, and we will see you out there on the battlefield.